Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica and Mr. Goose.
And Mr. Goose. Such a sweet boy. So today's video is one of my all-time favorite tropes. Mandy, I think, enjoys it quite a bit too, but that is Captor Captive.
Yes.
Just like we're captivated by Mr. Goose there and don't want to focus,
Well,
but yeah.
I know. Do you think Mr. Goose feels like he's in a captor captive situation?
Yes, one with a ton of love and food, and it's not a bad situation, which a lot of these books, they seem bad, but are they really? So, All right, before we get started with that though, what do you want to tell them?
Well, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see more cuteness.
Exactly.
Okay. And also know about all of the lovely things that we're doing on our channel, like free books.
Free books.
Giveaways.
Exactly.
Free book giveaways.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So hit that subscribe button so you can be in the know of what's going on and how to enter.
All right. So
Pretty sure Mr. Goose just went behind the chair to go to the bathroom.
Oh, do you take care of that?
Oh, no, he came back. Okay, he's just
okay, we're good. All right. Okay.
Puppy training.
Puppy training. I don't miss those days at all. Okay, so my first Captor, and I was surprised we only did this video one time. Like, we've only done it once. So I had a plethora of books to choose from because it was quite a while ago. So lucky you guys. All right.
Jessica's 35 Recs coming up next.
Pretty much. I was like taking flags out of my book going, this is just too many. This is too many. It was sad. Okay, so this is probably one of my favorite. It's like top 3. So, okay. So the first book that I have is Claiming Vanessa by Raisa Donovan and Addison Wolfe. This is a trilogy, and it's a consecutive story. So you do need to read all 3, but I couldn't put them down. It's got my other favorite trope in it, breeding. So this was just like, this was it for me. So this is about Vanessa, and her family is in the mafia, as a lot of them are, and she's at her sister's wedding, and a gun battle breaks out at the wedding because, again, this is mafia. Those things happen. And when that happens, she is kidnapped by the mafia don from a rival family, and his consigliere and his henchmen are all a part of this. So these 3 guys kidnap her, take her back to this club that the head guy owns, and she is sequestered in the club, but it is decided that he needs an heir, and so the 3 of them are going to breed her, and it's a thing. So this is a white shoes. There is sword crossing in this one. There's an MM relationship going on in this one, so it's MMFM, and I friggin' loved it. So she is their captive. Like, she's trying to get away the whole deal. She does not want to be there. So good. Might even have some medical kink in here. Like, it's a thing. It's good. Breastfeeding. It's got it all, guys. Lactation. So good.
Right.
I want more, but that's the only 3 they've written like that.
Okay. So my first is actually a historical romance in the Captor Captive. And not only is she captured once, she actually gets captured twice.
Oh, that sucks.
Yes. So this is Healing a Highlander's Heart, or excuse me, Healing a Highlander's Heart by Kira Montclair. So we have Brenna. Brenna is a healer. And so she is kidnapped from her home and taken in the middle of the night to go heal Quaid. Now, Quaid has been injured in a battle, and his, soldiers, the people around him, go and get her because they're like, this is his only chance. So she heals him. Quaid is then convinced that she can help him with something else. And so while they tell her they will return her, they don't. They actually kidnap her again. So she was taken once, and now she thinks she's getting let go. But now Quaid himself is taking her. And he takes her back to where he lives to hopefully heal his daughter. Now, Brenna is just such a great person that when she realizes why he takes her, she wants to help. So this one is definitely like less dark than most Captor captives, but it still definitely has those elements. So if you like that without so much of the darkness that usually comes with it, this would be a great read for that.
Okay. All right, so the next book that I have is, again, a trilogy. The third book isn't out yet, which is, I think, where we're going to get the payoff for the Captor captive. But let me tell you about the first two. I listened to this when you and I went to the event in Seattle. When we did the one where we were there as vendors, I think is when I listened to this on the way down there. So that was this summer, and I'm still just waiting for that book. It's killing me. Okay, so this is Terrible Beauty. It is by Anna Zaris, and this is about Alina and Alexei. So when Alina is young, she is told, like, she was really, really young, and she was told that she would marry Alexei when she became of age, and then it was negotiated that she could go to college before the marriage would be forced on her. And so there's definitely an age gap here because he's older. So at the beginning of the book, we find out that he has captured her, and then we see a lot of this in flashbacks, things that happened, because he's holding her captive. So she goes to school in the USA. Her family lives in Russia. This is a Bratva situation. So her family's in Russia. She's traveled back and forth to go to school. She sees him when she's on her breaks home. And then now she's finally at a certain age, and he takes her, and we'll get the payoff for that in the third book. But he makes her life miserable. She doesn't want to marry him, but he is obsessed with her, like obsessed with her. And so then he makes an arrangement, and he goes and gets himself his wife. So
my next one is Human Pet Prison by Loki Renard. Have you read Loki Renard?
Yeah, I one time I didn't care for the book. It was Alien, but
this is Alien.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so I actually like this one.
Okay.
Shocking because it was Alien.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Silver. Silver is a human, and she is out to destroy a certain group of aliens based on like personal revenge, vendetta type thing. And she ends up getting caught while she's on this mission and put into a pet prison where the warden, and that's just his name is Warden, is what everybody calls him, he is to train her into being a pet. And you can just imagine how he trains her. No, just leave it at that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That summed it up.
You summed it up.
Okay,
so the next author I have actually does this trope very well, and she does it in a lot of her books, and that is Natasha Knight. And so it was one of those where I was like, ooh, let's find a book. I love Natasha. She is an absolute sweetheart. I talk to her quite often, but we'll be seeing her in Phoenix in February. So I'm really excited. So yeah. All right. So that is this With His Ring. It's a duet, With His Ring, and I thee wed or I wed thee. I can't remember. It's I thee wed. I take thee. I thee take. I thee. Yeah. With this ring.
Are you okay?
No, I say it wrong every single time. It kills me. Anyhow, so this is the story of Scarlett and Cristiano. 10 years before our book starts, Scarlett's family, her family is, so Cristiano is Italian mafia. Scarlett's family is, what do they call it in Mexico?
Cartel.
Thank you. Oh, my brain just stopped. So Scarlett's family murders Cristiano's family. Cristiano and his brother are the only ones to survive. Cristiano is in the hospital for many years. He has amnesia. He doesn't remember anything leading up to the event of those nights. He has little snippets and stuff, but that is about it. So when our book starts out, it is Scarlett's wedding day. Her brothers, her very mean brothers, have arranged for her to marry somebody she doesn't want to marry. And they have her sequestered in this room, waiting for her wedding. When Cristiano breaks in and he kills her brothers, and he takes her and her little brother as revenge, and he takes her back to his compound where he keeps her as his captive. And things never really go as they plan because they fall in love. But there's a lot happening here. There's a lot of mystery here. There's a lot involved. a lot involved here. I love this trilogy. Like, it's a trilogy because the brother gets a book in the third book and it all goes together, but I love it. Love it. And if you go to Natasha's website, she has some amazing art of all of her books. So you can see her characters come to life. Love it.
My apologies if your rec was interrupted with the voiceover of my husband yelling at some of the dogs.
No, I didn't hear him. Okay.
We're running a zoo here.
Apparently, both of us, quite often.
3 dogs now, a cat, and a tortoise, and a leopard gecko. But the leopard gecko does not run around the house.
No.
And you might be thinking to yourself, well, the tortoise wouldn't either. Well, you would be wrong because the tortoise is a sulcata, so she is a. Well, we don't really know if she's male or female.
It's a question. Yeah.
Yes. But she does live outside in the house because she can't go outside. She lives outside of a tank. That's what I'm trying to say. So my house is a zoo.
I think your zoo inside your house is just a tiny bit more than my zoo because we have 3 dogs, a cat, 3 geckos that the kids play with all the time, and some fish. But the fish are easy. They don't work.
Yeah. And then outside,
plus the 3 kids. Plus you have barn animals. So yeah, they're farm animals. Yeah. All right.
I do. Anyway,
what's your next book?
Let's get back to Captor Captive. Okay, my next one is called Such a Good Guide by Kate Raven. And this one I talked about before, and this is like dark romance. It's stalker, it's breeding, it's birth control tampering, it's brother's best friend, and it is also Captor Captive. We have so much happening in this book, but it is phenomenal. So we have Luke, who loves Luna. He's like obsessed with her. But Luke is a self-described sociopath. Like, he knows he's a psychopath. He doesn't have feelings for people or anything except for Luna. And he is hyper fixated on her. So he does what anybody would do in this situation. He stalks her. He kills people to make her life better. He tampers with her birth control when she says she wants a family. Like, he does it all. And he gets her to come to Canada under some unfortunate circumstances. And he is a famous rock star, by the way. I don't even think I mentioned that in the tropes. And she goes to see him, and he says that they have to fill out all this paperwork and all of this stuff. And he takes her passport and keeps it. So she's stuck with him. So while it's not a true captor captive, he does not let her out of his sight. He won't let her leave. And so I mean, like, how is the not captor captive? Like, he did not club her over the head. She willingly went to him, but he is not letting her go. I absolutely love this one. It is fantastic to have an unhinged hero in a book.
In a book. Yeah, we don't like those typically.
But just how clever. He gets her to come there, and I won't give anything away, but there's lots of dark elements. And just keeps her passport and makes her stay with him.
He is a smart man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the next book I have is really, really, really dark. So definitely check triggers. I mean, I think a lot of these are going to have triggers. So you're just going to want to check them in general. But this one's really dark. So this is Deviant, and it is by Ellie Sanders. This is book 1 in her Brethren Lord series. Book number 2, I think, comes out in the new year, and I'm here for it. So this is about Liliana and Magnus. So Liliana is a reporter, and she has found out about this Brethren society type, the secret society that rules the world, basically. Like, they're the underground that keeps strings are pulled here and there, and the world runs because they make it run. And so she finds out about it. She infiltrates, or she has another buddy infiltrate, and she's gonna release this article about it and expose them to the world. Well, that can't happen. And so these guys go after her. They capture her. They bring her back to the Brethren. And the person who is helping her, she sees his body hanging, like it's a whole thing, and they're going to kill her. And that is where Magnus steps up and says, you know what, we'll kill her, but let me keep her as mine for a while. And so that is what happens. He takes her as basically his slave, and he keeps her as his captive. And things ensue. It is very, very dark, but it is so good. Just so good. And their book, this is their book. The next book is a brother, I think it's his brother or somebody's book. So runs in the family there.
All right. My next one is Taboo. So just a warning there. But even on contemporary romances, sometimes you need to check those triggers. So you just need to know what your own reading biases, limits, and that sort of thing are, and make sure you're always picking books that you're going to enjoy that aren't going to cause you any sort of trauma or mental anguish or bring up stuff that's just uncomfortable that you don't want to deal with. So while in dark romance, I think we tend to talk about triggers a lot more, it can happen in regular contemporary as well. So
yep,
always check those if you need to.
Yep.
All right. But my next one, you might find, is not your cup of tea, depending on if you like Taboo or not, because it is Blood Moon Ritual by Kate Rivenhall. I always, oh, thank you. Switch me over. I always get, she writes under two names, Kate Raven and then Kate Rivenhall. So always need to double check those. So we have Temperance and Ryder. So Temperance and Ryder are siblings. Temperance was rescued from the cult when she was a younger, teenager, I think it was. I can't remember.
I think she was
exactly how old
14, I think. She was like 14 or something.
And she has been what they call deprogrammed back into society. But she still knows that Ryder is never going to give up trying to find her. And she does not want him to find her. But one day he does find her. He pulls up on his motorcycle, finds her, grabs her, takes her, and takes her back to their compound, if you will. So this is very cult heavy. This is the not sequel. It's the next book in this series after the Eclipse Ritual. And so we do see towards the end of this book characters from the Eclipse Ritual. So I would recommend reading that one first if this type of book interests you. But you could read this by itself, but your experience will be much better if you read the other one. So he kidnaps her, takes her back, and will not let her leave. And nobody else in their group wants her to leave either. But some people are also not happy that she's back. So things really kind of take a dangerous twist.
Okay. So good. I love those books. All right. So the last book that I have is probably my very favorite Captor Captive, like hands down favorite. And that is Take Me With You by Nina G. Jones. Love this story so much. So this takes place in the 70s. So, you have to because of technology and stuff. So it takes place in the 70s. This is about Vesper and Sam. So Sam is a peeping Tom and then some. Like he gets off on breaking into people's homes and leaving supplies. And then a few weeks after watching, it's always a couple. And after watching this couple, he will eventually break into their home and tie up the guy and assault the female and spend the night doing that. He never kills them. He just is horrible to them and traumatizes both parties involved. And so that is his thing. That is what he does. And he also is somewhat mute. He has a horrible stutter that he has some childhood trauma from because he was made fun of so severely. And he was made to feel dumb because of it. And so he can only speak when he whispers. And so he pretty much is mute. And one day he is at a grocery store and he sees Vesper. And Vesper is there with her little brother who has cerebral palsy. And she is very kind and loving to her little brother, which then makes her Sam's next obsession because the way he sees her with her little brother. And so he starts to obsess over her. She is dating a guy who is in medical school. She is a nursing student. And one night he's starting the process of leaving things in her home when he breaks in and things don't go as planned. And because of that, and because of the situation with her little brother that comes up, she says, "Take me with you," which leads him to taking her to someplace to hold her unexpectedly. And then it ends up her being his captive for about a year. I loved this story so much. It's angsty and it's dark and it's totally filled with Stockholm syndrome. It is so frigging good. So good. Okay. What's your last
one?
My
next one is also a favorite. It's a favorite of yours as well, but it does have a slight twist on the Captor Captive. So I will explain that as I talk about it very carefully without giving things away. This one is
that one's hard not to give things away.
A little tricky on that end. And that's Where There's a Will by Ember Hughes. So we have Kenley and Colton. Again, make sure you check those triggers. So Colton and Kenley were high school sweethearts, and Kenley breaks up with him unexpectedly, and Colton is devastated because they had future plans and he doesn't know what to do. So he flees. He just leaves the state, goes and works on a different farm. And we fast forward, I think, isn't it like 10 years later?
Yeah. Yep.
And he gets a phone call from his sister that their dad has died. The sister has stayed and worked on this ranch with the dad. And so he agrees to come back home. He brings his friend with him that he's been with working down on this other ranch. And so he comes back home. His sister then kind of fills him on all the stuff that's been happening. He does not really want to be there because Kenley is on the neighboring farm. And some crazy stuff went down, and they just don't understand what's going on with what happened with their dad. And like things just aren't making sense. And the person who's going to have answers is Kenley's dad. So he goes over there to get answers. And instead he ends up being forced down into the basement and held against his will, I guess is a great way to put it. And the person tending to him during his stay, if you will, I don't know what to call it, while he's being held captive, Kenley is tending to him, but she is mute and will not speak to him. And so he's stuck there. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what's going on. And it's just a very painful, frustrating situation, not only for him, but Kenley as well. And in the meantime, the sister and his friend are stuck trying to figure out what on earth happened to him. That's the best I can do in summing it up without giving things away.
I know.
It is part of a duet. The second one is coming out, I believe, in the spring. But this is itself a standalone. Like the couples, everything is resolved that like for them in this. But the next one coming is going to focus on characters from here. But you will have to have read this book for their book to work for you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Get a head start on that and read this. If you like dark romance, this is definitely one that you need to read.
I saw yesterday, I was looking at it, there's like under 200 reviews on that book, and it blows my mind. Yes, blows my mind because it is so good. It should be like the next big thing. It is so freaking good. And I see these other books out there just getting pushed and talked about all the time that I'm like, it is nowhere near, they're nowhere near as good as that one. It is so freaking good. So go read it, guys. Go read it. Yeah. All right, so there's 10 captive romances to get you through the winter when you're captive inside your house because of weather. Yeah.
Well, since I ended with Ember Hughes, who is also Daisy Jane, I'm just going to do a quick plug for Undeniable, which is going to be our live show on December 15th. Which means you have very little time to read this and join us, but we really hope that you will. And if you don't get a chance to, you could still read this. And the reason you just brought this to mind when you said to get like the captive to get you through the winter, your saying is nothing says Christmas like mom's ex-boyfriend. So
yeah,
join us for that if you're able.
Yes. Yeah. All right. And in the meantime,
make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us, and make sure you have that notification button turned on because we do lots of extra videos, especially on Wednesdays.
Yep. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.